Okay. Okay. Okay, רבותיי, בוקר אור ומבורך. Today we are broadcasting from our studios in Surfside, Florida, with our great Rabbi and Malech, the beautiful Kahal. Hashem Alim Yehyu Amen. We're doing Bekiim Bahalacha, the Viko Mizrahi edition, Haim ben Mazal Refuah Shelema. This was dedicated by his sons, dedicated for the daily study of Halacha. Danya Kohen Alav Shalom Bekiim Bahalacha 6. Today's day 44. We're on page 111, and we are studying the Refuah Shelema for Shlomo ben Adel. Inna refanado betoch shar cholei amo Yisrael. Amen ken yeh ratzon. We are continuing our discussion this morning on some of the vessels that are suitable for the netilat yadayim. So yesterday we talked about milk bags, pot covers, leather pouches, and sprinkling cans. And the basic rules that we gave yesterday is if it's a vessel, even though it can't stand on its own, it's okay. It's got to be a vessel. So therefore we said, for example, a soup ladle technically would be okay. It can't stand on its own because it's wobbly, it's rounded, but it holds it a yirat, and it's made as a keli, and it holds its form, and therefore we said it's okay. As opposed to a leather pouch, we said that would be problematic. And then we discussed pot covers, and then we said exactly, it probably depends how you use it. Baruch haba Victor. So today we discuss a more common case. If you're following with us, it's on page 111, and it'll be halacha yud aleph. We're talking about over here pitchers. So, okay, person has a pitcher. So what is a pitcher? It's a regular receptacle. It has a spout at the end. So he wants to fill up the pitcher, and he wants to use it for netilat yadayim. And you have to remember that these cases can happen. Sometimes you're in a place, and look at the hotels, let's say. So they give you the pitcher where they have the water, and they want you to pour the water into the netilat yadayim cup. When they don't have the sinks, let's say on one of these programs, they have a big catch it. So all of a sudden you have some guy, he doesn't want to pour it into the netilat yadayim cup. He wants to pour it directly from the pitcher on his hands. Like the guy from Haiti. Remember the guy from Haiti in the United Nations? The guy drank from the pitcher when he was making the Berakha. He's an animal. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. The pitcher's there for the people to pour in the cup. He doesn't know. He's from Haiti. They don't drink. They took the whole thing. He drank. It fell on half of the soup. Anyway, so over here, the rule is like this. So the pitchers have a spout. Okay, to facilitate the pouring. It's a little ledge that comes out of the top, and the water goes through that little canal in order to get it into the cup. The reason why they put that there, so otherwise it'll fall over the place. So it's in order to narrow it, so it goes through that little spout, so it goes into the cup without spilling. So the question is, can you use that for netilat yadayim? So the Rav writes like this: kan's a pitcher. When halakha yud aleph, sheyesh lo belita bisfato. So it has like a spout to facilitate the pouring. Ke'en mashpech. Now what? Shebolet hachutza misfat hakli. Bolet. It protrudes on the outside of the vessel, like most of them do. Imaya petach hazeh bolet me'asfat hakli. So some want to say that if it's protruding outside the vessel, yesh ma'minim shelo litol mekli zeh derech hapetach. So you could use the vessel. You just shouldn't use it via that spout. I mean, it's better to use it from the rim. Use it from the sides. Why? Because they don't look at the spout as part of the keli. Since it's extending from the keli, so that's an extension. That's an addendum. Therefore, that's not part of the vessel itself. Therefore, you could use the keli, but use the keli. And what's considered the keli? The rest of it, the rest of the rim. So he says, "Shelo yitom mekli zeh ela misfat hakli nemucha yoter." So you should shoot it from the one that's lower, not the spout itself. He's saying a different Sefardim also. Let's say we're talking about a spout that's higher than the vessel. Sometimes the spout is higher than the vessel itself. So therefore, that spout cannot hold the water. Because if you're going to fill it up above the rim of the vessel, what's going to happen? It's going to spill over. Why? Because the spout is higher. So they only want you to use it from below the spout. So below the spout is the vessel itself. So therefore, basically, you would take such a vessel from the side and go on the side and make the yadayim. That's someone to say that. That's the rule. Misafa ulmala from the spout and up is not considered a keli. Who says that? The rabbi called Mishnah Berurah. When I get Sefardim, not kel bazeh. That's not HIDA. HIDA says you have no problem. We look at it as the spout is part of the vessel, whether it's above the vessel, whether it's equal with the vessel, even if it's below the vessel. Bottom line, you could always use it. You could even pour it from the spout itself. That's the Mahazik Berakha. But the Ben Ish Chai says, you have a Ben Ish Chai menu. You don't want, Rabbi? I'd like to see the Ben Ish Chai. Parashat Tazriya. Halakha Zayin. Coke bottle. Forget the Coke bottles. There, yes, you have a different question. There, it's a very narrow opening.
You're not getting the volume.
Hazak about it. You're not getting the right volume and stuff. That we'll discuss.
That's what
right. Here, was saying. Here the water will come out nicely.
Yeah, you sure it's enough?
Yeah, the water will come out nicely.
Like
it pours.
You can't use like a pitcher, the one that you use for the creamer. It's too small. The water.
No. That maybe you don't have. But talk about a regular
big pitcher.
Yeah, regular big pitcher. When you pour it on your hands, the water will come out nicely. The water. No, you have to pour it nicely. But the point is, can you pour it on the side where the spout is or not? So some want to say, like the Mishnah Berurah, that if it's higher than the vessel itself, read 111 in English. 11 in English. Most pitchers. I'm going to read it inside. Well, could you open up Tazriya Halakha Zayin? Yes. Most pitchers have a spout. Good. Some poskim rule that if the spout rises higher than the rest of the pitcher's rim, which a lot of times it does, one may not use this pitcher for the yadayim and pour the water through its spout. They argued that the spout cannot be considered part of the container, since it's not possible to fill the container up to the top of the spout. Correct, because the water will fall off the sides of the vessel. Instead, one must pour the water from the lower rim of the pitcher. Sefardic Jews have what to rely on. Let's see what the Ben Ish Chai writes in Halakha Zayin. Okay, we have this rabbi over here. What does it say? Here it is. Keli shenikra b'lashon Arabi ibrik. Now you know what it is? Kum, like the kettle. Yeah. המנהג פשוט בארץ הסביב, בטורקיה, Israel, Turkey, ליטול ממנה. They use it for נטילת ידיים. כמו שכתב הגאון חידה. וכן המנהג פשוט פה עלינו בגדד. בגדד, they use it as well. אך יש מחמירים לומר שאם פי הקנה גבוה פי הרחב, if the פי הקנה, which the spout is higher than the rim, שיטול דרך הרחב. You should use the rim. וטוב להיזהר בזה החדה אפשר. It's better to be careful if you can be. So the Ben Ish Chai says, and they were not shocked. The Ben Ish Chai had a holy soul. I want to tell you something that the Kaf HaChaim brings down. The Kaf HaChaim brings down Siman Kuf Nun Chet. This is for adults only. What I'm telling you now. So hold on to your seats tightly, because this is something that sometimes you see different opinions in Shulchan Aruch, and Shulchan Aruch will bring down a lenient opinion than a mahmir opinion, and there's some people that always are attracted to take the stringent opinion. So the Benu Ari writes that if a person is drawn to take the stringent opinion, he has a good soul. If a guy's always looking for the loophole and always looking for the angle, okay, doesn't mean he's a bad person. He's a good guy, but doesn't prove that his soul is a high soul. Why? He said, because as you get in the upper worlds, after 120, as they raise your soul to the higher levels, so therefore you're judged on higher levels. And therefore, on the lower levels, they might not ask you, why weren't you strict? You can say, Shulchan Aruch says it's mutar. But if you want to get to the next level, so no, to get to this level over here already, you have to be strict on these things. So therefore, you won't be able to reach high madrigot without, so the people that are mahmidim. That's why when Maran says tov lachmid, he's giving you good advice, and it is good advice, because not only in this world, but in the next world, in order to elevate to higher levels, there's people that have to be on the highest. To be closer to the Shekhinah, you have to have a higher level of compliance, we'll call it over here. So in this case, what he says, Tov Lachmir, we'll take the Ben Ish Chai. Go to the next page. Okay, which is very common as well. Let's say the petah, or the spout of the pitcher, is equal to the rim itself. then there's no problem with that. That's an issue that nobody has to be concerned. Even the Mishnah Berurah was leaning on that. Now let's say the spout was lower. They have to figure a case. What's a case like that? The weird type of vessel. You have a pitcher, and the spout is lower than the rim itself.
The only that way that can happen, Rabbi, is you have some sort of thing that blocks the water from coming out of the spout.
Yeah.
You open up a lip.
Yeah, maybe a cover, and then
pitcher, but the spout is here and it has something that opens it up to let the water.
Yeah, to let the water out, like a gate. Yeah, something like that. Pitcher kudi, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's right. It's a Polish pitcher. Okay, some people are mahmir. Now, then they're saying specifically you should use the petah. Only the spout in that case. Because, right? No, because above is not already considered the keli, because the water will go up to the spout. So he says, right? The water will only reach the spout, then it starts falling out. So therefore you can go above.
So what's the reason for the rest of it?
It's for show, I guess. Sometimes they leave to make it pretty. Aesthetic. Yeah, exactly. Spots in the middle. So whatever's above. Also. So really, Sefardim, we're taking every situation, whether the spout is higher, whether the space is equal, whether the spout is lower, had arech, had katser, had benoni. In all the cases over there, mutarim lachem. Okay, but better to be mahmid, to use the low one. The final case that he brings over here, and then we'll get to the case on the bottom. Now, this case over here is you have an old-fashioned kettle. Okay, remember the tea kettles, right? The ones that you pour exactly. They have a spout, but instead of being an extension of the top edge, the spout is a little tunnel through which one can pour water or tea.
Right.
So they have like a little extension that comes out of the tea kettle.
A round thing and a little thing like this.
Right. Yeah. It's a little like a tunnel, like we said, like a tube that's on top of it.
Again, the same thing there. The water doesn't go past the spout.
It's just true over here because then it's going to fall out of the spout. But the question over here is, some want to say that that's considered separate. All the other cases, it's a spout, it's part of the vessel itself. But this is like a separate tunnel that's attached, and they want to consider it separate. So he says, old-fashioned kettles have a spout as well.
A tea kettle.
Right, but instead of being an extension on the top edge, the spout is a little tunnel through which one can pour tea or water. Some poskim with this spout is not considered part of the keli, since it is not made as part of the container. See, on the vessels that we're talking about, that's all one piece. But this one over here, it's like a separate extension that they used to add. So its purpose is only to facilitate the pouring of liquid. According to some poskim, if someone wishes to pour netilat yadayim, using this kettle, he must pour the water from the top of the kettle, not through the spout, because it's considered separate. Custom of Sefardic Jews, however, rely on the poskim who rule that the spout is part of the kettle. That's basically our rule, by the way. Remember, the Mahazik Berakha, the spout is part of the kettle. Therefore, when we perform the yadayim, by pouring the water through the spout itself. Okay? Now, someone who possesses the higher degree of fear of heaven will make sure to pour the water from the top of the kettle if he uses it for the yadayim. Nevertheless, there's basis to be lenient. Now he discusses an interesting case. This is like a vessel. I think the kids have this type of vessel.
Sippy cup.
A sippy cup, Hazak Baruch, where there's a straw attached to the cup. There's a straw attached to the cup. So if you're going to pour it from the side of the straw, it's going to come out of the side and in the straw as well, because it doesn't go directly into the straw as well. Or if you go on the other side, it'll just go out of the side of the cup. So the question is, using a cup that has a straw attached to it, is that going to be good for netilat yadayim? So he says, according to the principles taught here, it is permissible to use a cup with a built-in straw for netilat yadayim. One should pour the water from the side of the cup and not through the straw itself. This is the ruling of poskim to straw. The truth is that even if somebody would spill the water onto his hands from the side where the straw is attached, most of the water that will fall into his hands is falling directly from the cup. It's not going into the straw. And therefore, according to the Eshel Avram Buchach, as long as the water comes from the lower level of the cup's edge, even if there's also water coming from the higher level, the yadayim is validated. This is certainly the case of the great majority of the water comes from the lower level. For sure, the majority is coming from the lower level. and only a small portion comes from the higher level, as happens to be the case. Even if the two waters become as separate streams, as long as they mix together before falling on its head, which they will, the act of yadayim is valid. According to this, it does not matter which side of the cup he uses. Furthermore, the HIDA ruled that one may use a container even if one side of the rim is higher, like we learned. So therefore, even if the straw is higher, what do I care? It's still attached to the cup. And once it's attached to the cup, so therefore, even if it's coming out of the straw on the side, it should be okay. And therefore, so he says the common custom among Sefardic Jews to be lenient. It might be possible to argue that this applies only to a higher rim, where the straw attached to the cup is maybe not intended for pouring. You can hear that, Sevana. You could argue the rim is part of the cup, because what's the purpose of the rim? To pour the cup out, to pour the water out. But the straw is not used as a pouring.
Is the straw permanently attached?
Permanently attached. And the kids like. So then you could argue. And then concludes the best to hold the cup in the manner that allows the water to pour through the straw. Not in conclude the best is to hold the cup in the manner that allows no water at all to pour through the straw. Which is basically, what we're saying? Always use the other side. Anytime you have a pitcher, anytime you have use the edge, and therefore you solve the problem. Even though Sefardim technically would not be a problem in such a case. That's why sometimes, let's say if you go to a place, they give you some, maybe like a wine decanter or something like that, to make the touch. That's like a tall, narrow type of vessel, has a little spout at the end of it over there. But it's Sefardim, you just have to be careful, like you were saying, Victor, to make sure you get a yirat on your hand. You have to be careful. You hold it for a while to make sure that the yirat has to run. Make sure you get a yirat on your hand.
The milk bag, yes.
Your milk bag.
Use it or not?
No, milk bag is out. Milk bag. We compared the milk bag to a leather pouch.
Right.
Now,
a leather pouch could work, but
no leather pouch. We said. You're right. I saw it in the airport yesterday. Somebody using a leather pouch. But Maran writes leather pouch is no good. And we said the difference is the Taz learned that since when it's empty, it doesn't hold anything. It doesn't look like a vessel. It's not a vessel. It's just a flat.
Yeah, but it's
flat. But he said leather pouch is when it's empty, it's just a flat piece of leather, and therefore does not look like a keli. So he said that yesterday. That even if you take the milk bag and you put it in that white, no good, because it's coming from the bag, and the bag is no good. I just want to review something. I think it's important for our members. We've been going back and forth with Rabbi Bitan on this washing your hands for keli mashke. This is a life changer, by the way. Many of our members now have become very aware of washing your hands before you eat something that's moist and something that's wet. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of times that you're in that situation and you wouldn't think to watch. And the poskim are very strict for Sefardim to be careful on this halacha. You carry that in the refrigerator. The minute it hits the air in a human, it becomes wet. No, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about water. It's got to be water. Can't be that. Yeah, not about condensation. We're talking about regular water. Huh. But the issue we had, he wrote over here in Bekiim Bahalacha, and just reviewing because he made a retraction in this issue that he sent me yesterday, Rabbi Bitam. Yogurt. It's very common that people eat yogurt. They put stuff in the yogurt. They put berries or granola, whatever it may be, raisins. So what happens? The yogurt is milk. Milk is one of the 7. So you're going to argue, but you're eating it with a spoon. Fine, but that's only one heter. Remember, we learned the rule over here. You need 2 heterim. So in Bekiim Bahalacha, he wrote in the note that we can rely that the milk was pasteurized. He retracted on that. He doesn't agree with that anymore now. Rabbi Bitan, it brought a lot of proofs over here that it's only talking about what's actually cooked. And he gave cooked with the actual item together. But in this case over here, pasteurization for this halacha would not be considered cooked. So therefore, comes out that if you're eating a yogurt with a spoon even, unless you're eating less than a kazayit, or unless you have another one of those heterim that we said, you're going to have a problem. Not a problem, you just have to wash your hands. So imagine that the guy's eating. No, you eat it. It's just that you're not gonna. The guy's trying to save himself from walking. He's trying to save himself from walking to the sink. Milk. But bottom line, the question is milk. The question is pasteurization considered cooked? And the Rav wanted to say at the end that pasteurization, in his opinion, is not considered cooked when it comes to this item over here. So basically, you have raw milk, and you have something you're dipping in the milk. It doesn't matter if you didn't dip the granola in. When you're dropping it in, it's considered dipping it in the milk. And therefore, we wanted to say that you would have to wash
You
it.
don't mix anything into the yogurt.
Oh, then you're fine. Drinking
It's
milk,
only when you add
100%. It's dipping something
I
in.
can take a yogurt, I can drink.
And just like you can drink a glass of milk without washing.
Okay, so there you go.
But we're talking about
once you add the granola,
that's like dipping it.
Add the
That's right. That's like dipping it in the milk. So we have to make that yadayim. So that's So yeah.
Cereal.
So yeah. So comes out even yes, 100%. If you go back, by the way, I'm going back to these cases over here because it's a game changer. Once you take the pasteurization away from us, you have officially made our life. Look at breakfast cereals on page 89. A bowl of milk with cereal is definitely a food that has been moistened with a beverage. Okay, and would seem that is necessary to food. Milk is one of the 7 beverages. Okay, nevertheless, common practice is to eat without washing. Perhaps, he says, perhaps, maybe this is because the milk is considered cooked because it was pasteurized. Just many poskim rule that pasteurized wine is considered not mevushav, somebody can touch it. Since people eat breakfast with a spoon, they're not touching with theirs. It turns out there are 2 bases. Halacha berura disagreed with the reasoning, claiming the leniency of cooked beverages applies only when the food is cooked with the beverage. It has to be cooked together. In this case, the beverage is subordinate to the food. It is therefore no beverage present. In the case of cereal and milk, there is the food and the beverage have simply been mixed together. Makes no difference. So Kam David Yosef was strict. Kam David Yosef was strict.
Meaning that you're eating cereal, you have to wash.
That's what it sounds like he's saying over here.
Porridge is okay.
Porridge is for sure okay. That's cooked.
Cook. We're talking about cereal that's pre-cooked, mixing with the milk.
Pasteurization, the process is not to cook it.
Yeah, he goes in it. What's the difference between pasteurization is just cooking it alone. He wants to learn there could be some of the poskim that said cooking was you're cooking it together with the item that you're dipping it in. It's cooked together, like the compote was dipped with was cooked with the fruit itself. Anyway, I thought that was an important clarification which is bottom line.
That's what we got to
take away pasteurization from the once you do that. And Chab David didn't like it either, by the way. Chab David, in Al-Khabra didn't like pasteurization as it did. It's a big change. Comes now, guy wants to have cereal in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you might have to wash for cornflakes. As much as I don't want to tell you to do that.
Tell the kids in Magen David.
Tell the kids in Magen David.
They're going to kill you.
Okay. Right. They kill me anyway. What's the difference? Might as well kill me for a good reason. So that's
a different, real big.
It's a game changer. Again. I said,
more volume on that, Rabbi. It's got to be clear, really crystal clear.
Yeah.
Make it clear.
Let me get my phone over here.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah. I'm going to read you. From
Rabbi Biton.
Rabbi Bitan wrote in the Teshuvah that he sent me. I'm going to read you the halacha.
It's a major change.
It is a major change. I'm not arguing with you. Yeah, if it has olive oil on it. What's cured meat? That's it. That's just have to wash for that. Yeah, if it has olive oil on it. Hemachona keter. Hadrana B. Look what he says. Mash katabti lehakel legabe halab bepustar. He says, I retract it. Look at this here. I give the rabbi a lot of credit. It takes credit to retract.
Yeah.
So let me go to the end of the teshuvah because we love the end of the teshuvah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You ready to hear 4 halachot or you had enough?
No.
Okay. Ha'ochlim bagel mezonot baboker. Okay, these are the guys that have the mezonot bagel. So they escaped that they don't have to wash, but they dip it in olive oil. You're done. Or they put olive oil on it. Doesn't matter if you dip it or you pour it on it. It's the same thing. Okay, so that's for sure. Hamatbinim uga betoch kafe. Okay. Cook a ka'ak or the coffee, the cookie in the coffee. There we might have there we have leniency. The coffee is cooked, and if you're careful not to touch the wet part, so you got 2 hetirim. You're not touching the wet because you're careful holding the cake from the end, and the coffee is cooked. Those that are lenient, no, that's another heter. Yes, other heter. As long as you're not touching, ואף בכוס תה יש להקל. אוקיי. אך לכתחילה יש להחמיר. ואם מטביל העוגיה בחלב או ביוגרט, יוגרט is יוגרט, או אף שעבר פסטור, אין זה חשוב מבושל כלל. חביבי. ורק כשאכל פחות מכזית, יש מקום להקל. If you're not touching the item, because you have two items there. ועל כל פנים, צביעות עונה, האוכלים קורנפלקס, קוף, וו, רש, נון, קורנפלקס, קורנפלקס, בחלב עם כף. יכולים להקל מכיוון שאין דרך לאכול הקורנפלקס רק עם כף, ולא עביד דנגע. Okay, that's Rabbi Zalman said. But then once he's saying that, so then you got to give me the yogurt also. Anybody eat yogurt with their hands?
No.
I'm just saying, once he's telling me cornflakes and milk, because nobody eats cornflakes with their hand in the milk.
Never.
Okay, so then yogurt also.
So nobody's going to
So,
do scoop
so,
up
so,
that.
if, so then we have to say the difference. If you're dipping into the yogurt, no, right, lebne. Let's say you're dipping into the lebne or the yogurt. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Now
But if
you're
you're
using
eating
the
yogurt,
HIDA.
so we go back now. If you're eating the yogurt with a spoon, which you always do, that has granola in or something like that, you can be lenient. According to the Cham David, because he's saying something that's always the derech. That was a tell we get.
Yeah, that's
Something that's always there, like soup. Soup, he says, always the derech to eat with a spoon. Who's eating soup with you don't lap up the soup like a dog. You eat it. You're right. Esav has to wash. You're right. Esav has to wash. But the point over here is, so that's a hitir. So he was talking about dipping something in the yogurt. Now I understand.
So now you have
Okay,
lebne.
so we're okay. We're not so bad. So something that we're going to take Cham David's rule. Something that's always eaten with a spoon. There's room to be there. He took Rabbi Zalman and Shulchan Aruch Harav. But yogurt that you're dipping something in, we thought you could say don't touch and pasteurization. No, take away the pasteurization item. Now you have to have don't touch. That's in the kazayit. Soup, yeah, soup we said is okay. Yogurt I'm talking about.
אבל סוף זה מבושל.
Right. Soup, okay. Soup, no problem. You have mevushal and it's only eaten with a spoon. In the Cherami, you're correct. Okay, one more. Hatovel is a machab betechine. I have the case.
There you go. I was getting to that.
Rabotai, don't forget.
Tahini.
The tehine has water in it. And Rambam holds that even if it has a drop of water,
Finish.
not like the Ra'abad,
It's a majority one.
That-
I think it's a majority one.
majority water in tehine? Wow. Really?
It says to be. It's liquid.
Okay, no yitzuyan.
And the sum is not bishul
Put
kar.
oil also,
But you don't cook the water.
right? And you put oil in it also.
So keep it.
Olive oil?
Keep it.
Tahini press.
No, regular oil is not the issue. Regular oil, you don't have to wash it. Only olive oil. But hazak kibed tahine, hazak abaru. The fala simon. So over here, atovel eze ma'akal betchine. המעורב במים, אף שהמים המיעוט, even though the water is clearly the minority, חייב מיתה, no, חייב ליטול ידיו מדין טיבולו במשקה.
לא טחינה, לא איגות, לא חלב, לא בשר.
We're changing your life. So all these guys come for Shabbat morning, אנחנו אוכל קיבים טחינה. תיטול ידיו.
Gazpacho soup.
גספצ'יו.
Gazpacho.
תגידי, what's the gazpacho exactly?
Tomato, cold tomato.
Okay.
Soup that they blend with
What is it made out of? It's water?
But don't they cook it before?
tomato, basil, stuff.
So all that stuff is not mashkim, by the way. So far, none of those are the
It's
seven.
not cooked at all?
What is probably adding olive oil and water.
Oh, that's another story. If there's olive oil,
It's not cooked.
yeah, but you eat it with a spoon only.
Yeah, so it's
So
not
that's it. So you're back to Cham David said that anything you only eat with a spoon, they didn't make the gezerah on. He says. So gazpacho, I'm assuming you only eat with a spoon, like a soup.
There's no yogurt that you can drink. There's soups that
There
you
are.
So better. So better. That means that means you're not going to boys. You're not using your hands. That's the point.
Yeah,
That's my point. Doesn't mean a spoon. It means you're not using your hands.
Right, you can use this.
Now,
רבי, מה ההבדל אם ניגב את הטחינה עם פיתה?
pita, you wash it for the pita. Okay, mezonot. Yeah, mezonot.
בעצם מזונות,
אין הבדל.
או סנדוויץ',
מה יש בסנדוויץ' הזה?
אותו דבר, it's the same
Same
way.
thing, same thing.
אז אתה חייב, במזונות אני מדבר.
Yeah, you have a mezonot, you put tahina on it. אתה טובל את זה בטחינה, or you put the tahina on it.
In
Pour it on.
same way, it's the same.
100%. זה מה שהרב אומר פה, רבותיי.
Even sandwiches for the kids, you know.
Even sandwiches for the adults. I don't care about the kids. Even for the adults, I'm talking
No, for
about.
the adults, the wife normally.
The one doesn't make it.
She used to make.
Now look what he says here. רבותיי, זה בחידושים here. הטובל הירקות, carrots, cucumbers, במיני רטבים, in different types of
Dips.
דיפים. כמו רוטב, 1,000 האיים.
כן,
Thousand Islands. The Israelis, 1,000 האיים, they make it. Guys.
יש לנו 1,000 איים.
או בקטשופ.
Okay, what's capture?
קטשופ is
French
קטשופ. French fry. שעוברים תהליך פסטור.
The same process.
נחשיב כדבר מבושל. You just told me that way.
ברוך השם.
ואם יתברר שיש מיעוט מים ברטבים, which for sure have water in these items, אז זה אפילו לוקחים הם יותר מכדי יש להקל שאין צריכים נטילה. דרי תרי כולה. וממילא וכי אגב יש להקל אפילו גם ברוטב עצמו. ואם יש בהם רוב מים, אז גם כן יש להקל. So the question is, why was he lenient when it comes to ketchup the pestur?
He uses it. He likes it.
No, but you told me a second ago you don't like pestur. Let's see over here. רטבים שונים. He says over here.
We're all over the place, Rabbi.
Oh, he says like this. ממילא אף לפי שורה שכתבתי לעיל, even though I told you above לגבי פסטור החלב, the milk, שאין זה חשוב מבושל, doesn't work. אתם אומרים שבשל החלב בפני עצמו, that's because they cook the milk alone. כמו מי שבישל מים בפני עצמו. It's like cooking water alone. Cooking water alone does not make it cooked. And then it cooled off, let's say. שאין זה חשוב כמבושל. Which means someone would say even cooking tea. Someone say cooking water alone doesn't change it. You have to cook it with something. That's why they want to be more lenient with coffee than tea. If you cook it with coffee, cook it with the coffee beans, you change the water. You changed it. Someone would say that tea, you don't have the hitir. When you cook tea, it's cooking water. But you cook the water alone, then you add the tea bag. So they want to hold that cooking water alone does not make it cooked.
Instant coffee is the same thing.
So instant coffee where you cook the way exactly. No, there where the water is alone, and then you add it.
It's like tea.
Right, that would be like tea. But when you're cooking the beans in the water itself, exactly, that would be that's his haluk he wants to make. And he has, although Chamin Tzur doesn't agree. Chamin Tzur says no difference in coffee and tea. But he says over here, ובקטשופ היא מכילה עגבניות וסוכר, וכן בשאר רטבים מכילים סוכר ושאר מרכיבים מן הצומח, וממילא יש לדון להקל בזה בפסטור של מדין מבושל. Which means, there where you're cooking it with other things, so basically his rule is, pistur doesn't work if it's alone. But if you're cooking it with other things, then the pistur will work. So therefore, ketchup is cooked with other items. So therefore, if the guy wants to have a French fry, back to that French fry case, French fries with the ketchup, you can be lenient because you can say the ketchup is bepustar with other things, and you're not touching the ketchup. You're holding the French fry from the end, so as long as you're careful, or you eat the French fries with a fork, whatever it may be. So then you have to be lenient. So this is a very, very important. I want to thank Soli Mizrahi, our sponsor, that asked the rabbi all these questions, and now we're going to come out with all these answers. Let me go back to our.
If it's a single ingredient, that's when he doesn't agree.
Let's see. Rabotai, that our members that are in Brooklyn, we have members that are there. Our participants, he was there. I can't even see the people that are there this morning. You hear what's going on, Rabotai? We're saying big Hadushim here. Charles, you hear what the Hadushim are saying over here? So it comes out, Rabbi Bitan's Chiluk wants to be, if you're pasteurizing the item alone, it doesn't have a din of bishul. But if you're pasteurizing it with other stuff, could be okay. So a wine pasteurization will not be considered mebushal. Yogurt will not be considered mebushal. Milk not. Water alone for tea not. But coffee that's cooked in the with the water and the coffee cooked together, yes. And if we want to say the same thing when it comes to ketchup and all these things, since it's cooked with pasteurized with other stuff in it, and he has reasons to say such a thing as Rayaf and Ben Ishchaim and so on and so forth. But this is a game changer. So again, we're going to be lenient when it comes to eating cornflakes. Basically, come David's rule that, and we're going to remember the rule. Anything that primarily only you eat with a spoon, you're okay. But again, my opinion is, I don't know if that's going to help you with a salad.
That's a big problem.
Because salad, when you
Oil.
put olive oil and water,
And we have
you put well sometimes so
the
it's wet.
vegetables are wet.
Wet. I'm not so sure that you don't always you don't pick with your hands with a salad.
You could pick
I'm sure you'll take a cucumber, you'll take it, but it's not, you can't tell me you don't and that you can't tell me that it's no, but you can't tell me salad is like cornflakes.
No, it's not
We
the same.
did it. We did salad with the hand.
Yes, you
Even me that I did
you take a
it.
cucumber.
You'll take something.
Oh, well, you only.
זה בעיה שלו, זה יחיד. זה לא דרכו שלו לאכול ככה סלט.
We could argue that.
Plus you have two utensils, so you
No.
have to use it.
No, okay. For sure, salad is not cornflakes. The question is it? Anyway, I'm sorry we're going back. We're beating a dead horse over here with this tivulobim mashke, but we have no choice. We're learning halakha. We have to have clarity on these. I have no problem, by the way, to go forward, to go backwards, until we get clarity on all these halachot. This is where we're so. So again,
So glad you're here.
Gary, what do you have to say? The figures, okay. Baruch haba. Anyway, Yom Tov, Rabotai. We'll continue this tomorrow.